crafters, welcome into Guys Craft 2. My name is John, and today I am actually working on a wreath for our new park home, new camper, RV, whatever we're going to end up calling it. We call it a cabin some days, so we're still trying to get that figured out. But wanted to this video, if you're used to watching a lot of our Guys Craft 2 stuff, you know that we typically do a lot of sewing, quilting type stuff. But we actually started crafting a few years ago together, and that was all about wreath making. So today I wanted to just kind of chat and see, kind of help you learn and understand how wreath making works, what that looks like. And that's the plan. So we will be walking through some of the steps in that. I will tell you, I have pre-cut all the deco mesh that we're going to use. So this is going to be a deco mesh wreath. It is going to use two different colors in the wreath. And we decided to use more of a royal blue and this nice grass green is what I'm calling it, deco mesh. I have pre-cut all of this to 10-inch strips. So I just didn't want to waste the time while we were trying to get through, I guess, some instruction and stuff like that. I am using a regular 15-inch wreath form, and we will only be using these two inner pieces. And by doing two rolls of deco mesh at 10 inches, I have enough for the curl method that I am going to use. And I am sure someone's going to chat in and tell me, well, this is what we would call this, or this is what that means. That's great. Again, this is for me. This is for our new home. And I am just going to teach you today or kind of demo what makes sense to us. So with that said, I am making this wreath. So it is going to say Happy Camper and is all going to be pink in that. And you know we like that retro 60s kind of vibe. So that definitely will fit in for what we are looking for. Like I said, I've already got the deco mesh cut for this. So let's get started. So one of the things that you need in order to make these deco mesh wreaths is you need the deco mesh. You need what they call chenille strips. Or if you're older like me, we always call them pipe cleaners. So I'm not sure between the two vernaculars. So I always start off with just a bunch and cutting them in half because I don't need full strip. And it's easier if you just pre-cut some and get those going. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to do the curl method. Now, one of the things I would tell you on this particular wreath is I don't like when you get down to the end of the roll, the deco mesh starts getting really, really tight curled up. So the last 6 pieces that I cut, I make sure that one ends up in each section of the wreath. And if you count, there's 6 sections here. So each section has 60 inches worth of deco mesh. There's a lot of different skills, a lot of different ways to accomplish what I am doing today. I am showing you what has worked for us, what we sell at our craft shows. There's about 2 different styles that we like, and this happens to be, for me, this is the most popular, and that's why I am doing that. So let me finish cutting these quickly as we move forward. We will get things going. So I do like to try to pick a color of pipe cleaner that matches and will blend in with my wreath and with the deco mesh so it doesn't show up. Because I've got the light green in this one and basically almost like that royal blue, I could have used black instead of white. I will tell you, a few years ago when I first started, I did order like 1,000 or 1,200 pipe cleaners from Amazon, and I had every color. So it was kind of nice because I did have colors to match. But now I have pretty much resolved myself to just the black and white. And that seems to always accomplish what I want to accomplish. So this wreath, because it has so much blue in this background, I didn't want to try to blend in with that. So we purposely picked this blue to make it a more stark contrast. With that said, I want this to be the bottom. And so all of the bottom pieces for this wreath will be that blue with the green being on top. So sometimes you'll see where people do the same colors together. And other times you'll see where they're doing something more like what I'm doing. By the way, this is kind of like quilting, where you have that rule in quilting. It's your quilt, so your quilt, your rules. It's the same in wreath making, right? So you do what makes sense for you and what you think is going to look good for your wreath. So with that said, let's get started and see if we can get this knocked out in about 45 minutes. It does take a little time to get these done. I've already put my strips together in bundles of 6, so it'll help me keep track. All I'm doing is taking the 10-inch deco mesh, rolling it up. I like to give it a squeeze and a twist, and taking the green because I want that to be prominent and on top, doing the same thing, giving it a squeeze and a little twist. And then I take a pipe cleaner and I fold it in half and I put it between these two sections on the wreath form. So I'm ignoring the top, I'm ignoring the bottom, I'm just attaching to the middle section. I will tell you why in a few minutes, and let me get a few of these on here, and you'll see how pretty the bottom of your wreath form becomes because of doing it this way. And I don't know why it shouldn't bother me, but I can tend to be a little OCD, I guess, at times. But I like when someone picks our wreaths up at the show, they go, well, wow, the back looks as pretty as the front does. Well, it should, because if I'm taking the time to put this together to sell to someone, I don't want them to pick it up and go, wow, I got to make sure I always camouflage that. Now, granted, the back's not meant to be shown and never will be probably. But again, it's just me, and it's my compulsive disorder that I have at times. And yes, that's self-diagnosed. So you don't have to write in or comment or question it. It's just who I am. You ought to know that by now with all the time that we spend shopping and finding and creating new projects. And that's what this one's about. So as you see, I just continue to roll, skimp, and put this together. And I will show you this first section in just a minute as we get one section done. Now, I do tend to push everything to my left because I'm a righty. So I like to push everything to the left as I get started. And then later I worry about fluffing and putting the wreath together. But I find as I'm working, it just makes life so much easier if I am pushing everything to one side. Once the wreath is completely done, I am then able to go back and then fluff it out and make it presentable for the final, right? So I do have some really cute ribbon that we're actually going to use with this too. We're going to put strips in it today, so I'm not going to make bows. I would like to do a bow video sometime, and we'll plan to get one of those up and out there for you. But again, this particular wreath, just the way it's going to hang outside at our new house, I just wanted something a little bit simpler, especially because we're not going to be there full time. It is meant to be our part-time summer house. So I'm putting the last section in. Eventually what I will do, because you will see how quickly this can actually fluff out and fill up your wreath. What I do want to do is make sure that I have the blue all going to the inside, the green focused on the outside, and believe me, you cannot hurt deco mesh. If anyone could have destroyed deco mesh in the last few years, it would have been me. And at this point, this is kind of what it looks like. So with that said, I am going to pause the video. I am going to finish out the next few sections. And then when we get down closer to the last two, I'll start back up so you don't have to sit here and just watch me go on and on and on. So I'll be back in just a few. All right, so now I'm back and you can see that I've got all 5 sections completed. It's kind of interesting to see this blue and green because that is not at all what I thought we were going to end up with. But let me talk you through as we go through this last section. When I talk about rolling, all of this is the curl method. I don't know what else to call it, but it's what I do. You want to lightly roll these tight. You don't need a tight. You want a nice hoop. So gently roll that over. I like to pinch in the middle and twist. Do the same thing again with the top piece. And I say the top piece because sometimes I will use the same colors all the way around. I'll change it back and forth, but I like to put it on as an X. I fold this in half, my pipe cleaner in half, go over to the wreath form, squeeze it in, and bound it down. Couple of twists is all you need to get it back on there, and then just push it all the way to the left. I like everything going to the left, especially until I can get everything done, and then I go back and worry about spacing and turning and all that. So let's talk through as I am doing this one. So again, I am putting 6 10-inch pieces, or sets, I guess, right? So it's really 12 curls per section, because I did use 2 full rows of deco mesh. You can get deco mesh plenty of places. You'll find what you like and what works best for you. Our WreathWorks AZ store, obviously we sell this because we like to do some of the training locally, and we provide the supplies in that. Curtis actually puts together wreath kits, and he has 4 new ones for spring, summer that he just put together. Those will be getting posted on the WreathWorks AZ site in the next few days. Once he gets those up and posted, I think he plans on doing a YouTube video to kind of walk through his thoughts when he put those together. There's several different ones in there, and always appreciate your feedback. But we have plenty of customers that write and say, hey, I really have a hard time putting colors and putting things together, and that's why they like kits. It's no different to me than in the quilting world. I can put great fabrics together in that and match up to a pattern, but sometimes just buying the quilt kit and knowing that everything is in there, and I still have the flexibility to kind of decide how I want things finished. So like I said, I like this curl method. I use it quite a bit. There is a scrunch method, I call it, and we'll try to do a video using that in the near future. If you go out on our Pride Proud designs, you'll see a lot of finished wreaths out there, and that will show you some of the varieties, some of the styles that we've worked with, that we do. One of the things that we're excited about getting up in northern Arizona is there's a few craft shows that we hope to take advantage of. We used to do craft shows, but I'll be honest, down in the Phoenix area, the craft shows aren't that great. It's a lot of work for the setup. We find we do just as well selling stuff off of Etsy and via request, because we do custom wreaths and custom things like that. So that seems to sometimes work just as well for us, and just kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going hum a lot, and that's just not me. But we feel like that being up in the northern part of Arizona, that might give us a different niche in a different group that's up there. Also, I know that it is more um, transient up there. So I think folks do come up for the summer. They do come up for the long holiday weekends and that. And so given that, I think people that show up there may be looking to go to a craft show, buy some things at a craft show, where here locally it just doesn't always seem to work that way. So as you can see, I just got the last one into this last position. If you look, you can really see, it's hard to see the pipe cleaners that are in there, but look how nice the back is going to look because this is not done. So now that I have all my pieces in there, like I told you earlier, I want the blue to be the bottom base. So now what I'm going to do is go through, make sure that the bow is pulled both directions, because you'll find sometimes that bow wants to go to both sides, and that's not what we want. I want this to be evenly spaced. I want this to look nice when it goes to hang on the door, and I want that green to be more prominent on top, and I want to make sure that I'm getting that blue as the bottom layer. So as I go through, that's all I'm doing right now, is pulling the blue back to the back and letting that green fall to the front. I'm not worried about spacing or anything else at this point. I'm just trying to get the deco mesh where I want it to live, and then I will worry about other pieces. So as I go through, you can see I'm just doing simply pulling to one side. I'm not worried about the centerpiece at this point. I'm just pulling the back pieces down. All right, so now doesn't take long to do that, and you can quickly see the result, right? So now you can see all the blue is kind of turned to the back. Now I want to do the same thing. I want to push this blue that's on the front down in the center as well, so it allows that green to lay up on top. And you will have to, your deco mesh will snag because it is rough raw edges, and it's just the way it's designed. So again, you're not going to hurt it. Just plow through, get it to behave the way you want it to. It's basically just a plastic mesh. And so once you get all that done, you'll see how pretty open that wreath can be. So look how nice and what a focus that is for your front door. All right, so now this is very full. It's got a nice big thickness to it, and that's just, like I said, 2 rolls of deco mesh. That's all it takes. And so now I've got my wreath done. I am ready to install my Happy Camper sign. So this one is going to go dead center in the wreath. What I have done is gone back and attached full length pipe cleaners. So not the ones cut in half, but full length. You can always cut them shorter once you get it on, but believe me, you want the ability to have that extra width. I cannot staple, so I use, a staple gun. And please don't ask me what's staples, because I don't remember. But I use a staple gun to attach the pipe cleaner. I also use premium foam sheets, and I buy these off Amazon because they last forever and ever. And you'll have to find one to experiment with. Mine take 3 pieces to securely get them stuffed, but I put 3 layers of that foam on there. Sorry, trying to figure out how the camera's working. 3 pieces of the foam, lay my pipe cleaner over, give it a staple. Then I can feel here, the staple does not come through, but it's in there and I know it's holding. So that's what's important. If you stapled the pipe cleaner directly on, it'll come through, and then so you have that ugliness on your sign. We originally used hot glue, and I thought that made a lot of sense, and just went through and put a couple of dollops of hot glue, stuck the pipe cleaner in, let it dry, harden, and then I went back and put it on the wreath. The issue with that is in Arizona, when it's 118 outside, it melts the hot glue. So that was not a good solution for us. Now, I typically try to look at my wreaths and figure out where do I want the top and bottom. So the first thing I need to do is go through the back and figure out, do I have all of my deco mesh spaced pretty evenly across? And so that's the first thing I want to do. And that happens pretty quickly. And so now if you look at the back, you can see I am pretty evenly spaced all the way around. I typically will hold the wreath up and look and say, do I have what I consider a top and a bottom? And I usually do, and I don't know why, but your eye will tend to lean, I guess, one way or the other. So just figure out what makes sense to you. I am going to lay this sign in the middle. I don't want the green to necessarily get a lot of coverage. So the plan is to cover up more of the blue in the center. And then once I get the sign down in there, I can actually come back and position it a little tighter. So I did do all four corners on this because to me, that's what was going to be required to make this wreath stay in place. But again, I'm only applying the sign to one side. So you don't want to tie it off quickly. So what you first want to do is flip it over. I do tend to use the two outside rails initially for my sign to give me a chance to position it, see what makes sense, see where I want it to land. And so I take one pipe cleaner, pull it through the back, press down on the sign a little bit, and then twist it maybe twice and just keep going around doing the same thing, because it's first I'm going to need to make sure that my sign is landing straight and not all crooked going different directions. So I don't want to tie it down yet because I want to make sure that when I flip it over from the back, that it looks the way I want my finished pieces to look. So again, just grab some in the back. I like to use those back too. I do press down pretty good on my wreath itself and make that deco mesh forgive me and let me have my sign on pretty tight. And now I can come back and look and go, wow, is that where I want the sign? Is that the way I like it? So I can see I've got some room here to play. I can also see where I want to have some of this blue come out, not maybe all of it. So that's what I'm trying to work on. And I think I kind of like the way that's landing. So now all I have to do is go back and tighten this up. And then like I said, twist it 3 or 4 times. I fold the pipe cleaners over on themselves and drop it down inside the wreath. You're not going to see them. People always worry that they're going to see those pipe cleaners and what that looks like. Remember, you're the one looking at it very close up. So it's not such a big deal once you get it on the door and get it hung and you walk it over like it's like you're a guest coming into your house. Most people aren't coming up to examine your wreaths and look for abnormalities unless you tell them that there's one existing. It's kind of like in quilting, right? Oh, I messed that one block up. Did you see the mess up? And then, of course, everybody finds that mistake. But that's not what we're about. We're about getting this done, making it look right, and that's where we're at. So you can see I have some of the blue deco mesh underneath that sign. That's kind of the way I want it. I do want to push a little bit of this out to give it just a little flavor. But again, I don't want it to overtake. And so when I do that and I flip it back over, I have a good representation there without, right, that section doesn't like me. And that happens too. But at the end of the day, I will win. All right. So that is how we end up. And so that's where my sign is going to be. And now all I have to do is decide some of the coordinating ribbons. And that's what Curtis really likes, ribbon. I sometimes bail out and don't do ribbon. We did pick some really cool coordinating ribbons to go with this. And as such, I want to make sure that I honor that and get those done. So with that said, we have this blue ribbon that has the pink in it and the flowers with this pink. I'm going to go around and put, you want to put an odd number. So I will end up probably putting 5 strips of ribbon. And how I figure out how much ribbon I want is I pull it out, pull it off, look and say, wow, that's going to be way too much. And how does this look? And so that to me is about the size I need. And that is going to be 13 inches. So I'll tell you what, I am going to make these 15 inches. I am going to probably, I hope, use my rolling cutter to cut this. Yeah, that works. But I think I'd rather have my scissors. And gotta find where I put those scissors. Oh, I don't have scissors. So, wow, that's an idea. All right, so I am going to put 5 strips. We are going to do a combination of 5 of each ribbon, with the other one being the back piece, because I think that's what makes sense to me. There's 3, 4, and 5. You want to use an odd number of ribbons. If you do 4 or 6, it looks like it's very even across, and it just doesn't end up looking as nice, which can be a problem. So I will show you how. All we're going to do is do the pinch method again on these. And then once I get that, before I actually put them on with the on the wreath itself, I will want to make sure that I have trimmed and cut these so they have a nice tooth mark on them, right, where they've got that nice V. So I've cut all the ribbon. Now what I want to do is I want this to be my top because it's got the flowers in that. This is the coordinating piece that goes on the bottom. I am going to put those together, fold them over, cut the V. So it gives me that pretty V. Come down on the other end, do it again. Cut the V. And then I'm going to fold these in half, pinch this together, and bind it this way with a pipe cleaner. And then I will decide where they end up in the wreath itself. So again, you're just folding the right sides together. You're cutting that at an angle to get that nice V. And then once you do that, we're going to pinch them together and turn back around and decide where we're placing these on the wreath itself. And so once I'm able to do that, I like to be able to have my wreaths kind of project out a little bit. And so to do that, this gives a lot of life and gives me some balance on where I think I want these to land. So with that said, I am going to pause the video again and finish this up. And when we connect back again, you will see a completed wreath. All right, so now as I finish putting the ribbons where I think they make sense, pulling them open, kind of curling them across, this is what my finished piece looks like. And I'll be honest, I'm not fooling with the ribbon a whole lot today because it's got to travel to the new place. And once I get it up there, I will have to fluff it and do all that again anyways. So, but this is what we end up with. So there is the finished piece for the new house, and pretty excited to get that up there, get it hung, get it fluffed and decorated out, and become part of that. So today you landed in Guys Craft 2. My name is John. I appreciate you dropping in, listening to me share a little bit about our wreath making and what that looks like. If you want to know more, feel free to reach out. I love the comments, love each and every one that responds back and tells us we're doing some things right. If you would hit that thumbs up to tell us that you enjoyed this video. And thank you to all the new subscribers. We have picked up several subscribers in just the last week or two. Welcome. We appreciate each and every one of you. Our channel is completely free. We are not sponsored by anyone. So everything we talk about, reflect, and show is our opinion and our pocketbook. So just kind of give you a heads up. And our whole philosophy is if we have figured this out and we are able to do this, you can too. So with that said, thanks for dropping into Guys Craft 2. And until next time, happy crafting.